When people think of the original New England colony, Plymouth seems to come to mind. And while this colony, settled in 1620, was the first permanent colony in the area, it was not the first attempt. The very first attempt was St. Croix Island in 1604 off the coast of Maine, which was settled by the French. But the first English attempt, which we will discuss today, was Popham. After the failure of Roanoke in the 1580s, England needed a win in the settlement of America. In 1606, King James I approved a charter to establish two colonies, one along the southern Atlantic coast, which would become the first permanent English settlement of Jamestown, and one on the northern Atlantic coast, which would become Popham. In May 1607, ships set sail to settle these two colonies. 100 people, none of which being women or young children, were sent to the northern colony to set up shop. Shortly after arriving to the site, located at the mouth of the Kennebec River, Fort St. George was constructed, along with several other buildings. Popham has the luxury of having the only surviving copy of a map of an early English-American settlement. This map was drawn up by John Hunt and shows Fort St. George along with many other buildings and structures. Not arriving at the locale until the end of August, colonists did not have time to grow food before winter, which, as we know in Maine, comes pretty early. Colonists attempted to make connections with local natives, but were unable to make good relations. Due to this, the colonists had a rough winter. In December of 1607, 45 of the colonists took the main ship, Gift of God, and sailed back to England. The remaining colonists stayed and survived the winter, having better survival rates than Jamestown, which lost half of their population in the first year. That is, until February 5th, 1608, when the only recorded death took place within Fort St. George. George Popham, the leader of the colony. This left second in command Gilbert Raleigh, the nephew of Sir Walter Raleigh of the Roanoke colony, as the leader of Popham. Shortly thereafter, Raleigh got word that a death in the family left him with a title and inheritance back in England, so he set sail for England to collect his treasures and live a life of luxury. With no one left to lead the otherwise successful colony, the remaining colonists packed up their belongings and boarded the Virginia of Sagadahoc, the first ship built in America, and sailed home to England.